Great. Let me see. Hello, guys. Can you just confirm that you can hear me, please? Great. Okay. Let me see what we have tonight. Thank you very much for everyone joining in. What are your thoughts on leg adductors and leg abductor machine? Are they any good or they pose possible harm? Well, I don't think they pose possible harm. I don't think they're anything special. I never use them. And 1 second. I never used them, and nobody basically used them as much. I don't know what is the reason why people are so obsessed with it these days. It's simply something that I call fancy exercises, something that they may be actually good to warm you up or something like that, but not necessarily important. If you do squats, if you do leg press, if you go deep enough, you will include all these muscles, you will activate them, and there is no need to do the separate exercise for abductors and adductors. How would you suggest eating high protein, medium fat, and low carb if you're used to eating high carbs, low fat, and low protein? Gradually or all at once? I'm scared I won't have enough energy. Well, if you're eating high carbs, low protein, low fat, that's not very good diet. You're not going to go far with that. And I would just change that straight away. There is nothing to wait, no gradual change. Like, if you're smoking and then how do I stop smoking? Simply you stop smoking. Oh, but can I just have less cigarettes? No, you just stop smoking. You can't just continue doing something which is wrong. And this is definitely not the best diet that you can do. I don't advise that. And it may take a few days for you to adapt. And even if you say, I'm scared I won't have enough energy. So, well, I don't eat any carbs and I'm full of energy. So why would you be scared? You need to force the body to shift from glucose only energy to fat energy, because you have almost unlimited amount of energy in your fat stores. Even the average person who is lean has at least 100,000 calories in fat. So imagine if you are not lean, you probably have a few hundred thousands of calories stored as energy. So you should be able to start using that energy, which will be very good, not just for your energy level, which will be stable throughout the day, but also for your metabolic health. So I would just go straight away and you watch my videos on high protein diets, and everything is just straightforward. How do you suggest I lose the last 4 kgs of fat, protein fat ratio, carbs, and how much weight loss per week do you think is optimal? I'm going from 30% to 10%. You see, this percentage that was never my favorite thing, because nobody can tell you exactly about your fat percentage. All these caliper measurements are similar is obviously just it's fake. So mirror is the best thing to use. Mirror is your best friend. I have a client who has really, online client, who has really achieved tremendous results in last 2.5 months. And he's one who participated at 90 days challenge. And we never measured fat. We just followed the diet. He was listening to advice, and you will see I think he will win that competition, that challenge. And then I'm going to interview him, so you will all be able to see how people change in 2.5, 3 months by following the advice that I advocate. And he's natural, and it looks absolutely amazing. You'll see what kind of conditioning he's got, with no six-pack to amazing six-pack. Everything is split: shoulders, arms, back, legs. So no numbers. Don't worry about the numbers. And you should follow the advice that I give. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what to do, because I don't know you. I don't know what you do. I don't know what your training is. So it's for me very difficult to give you a straight answer. But if you follow the advice, you will pick up the principles which will lead you to obviously achieve your expectations. Okay, let me see what else is there. Could you explain what you mean by anti-nutrients and why peanut butter is bad food choice? Well, anti-nutrients these are all different components in food which actually don't contribute to any benefit, but actually take minerals and vitamins from you in order to be metabolized, like, for example, sugar. And also there are a lot of toxic components, especially in plants, which are silently poisoning you without you knowing it. And some people who are especially sensitive to lectins, like most problematic components of food, especially in lentils, like most famous is gluten. They experience very bad consequences because of that. And this is what anti-nutrients are. So when it comes to peanut butter is full of omega-6 fatty acids, and they are very inflammatory. So why would you just stuff yourself with omega-6 like that from legumes, from actually peanut butter, from peanuts? Because peanuts, they are full of lectins as well. And also they're very high in energy and very easy to overeat. So there are a lot of reasons why you should not be having that extra, because there is nothing in a staple human diet that will lead to peanut butter, right? The next one is can you talk about the neck and traps training? How should we approach it? Exercise, sets, reps, etc. Well, I can tell you straight away that I never did any exercise for neck. Neck usually gets involved in many exercises. Is constantly tense, is constantly stressed. When you do shoulder press, when you do upright row, which I love, when you do shrugs, which I don't advise, but they're not bad exercise. You're using your neck all the time. So I don't know many successful bodybuilders who actually train their neck. So neck literally is there to support your head, and everything around neck and trapezius muscles actually engage, not in a sense of contracting, but neck is always there, always tense. When you do bent over rows, when you do barbell curls, when you do squats, when you do leg press, you're always tensing your neck. So it's always there, like forearms, for example. So you don't have to do anything in particular for these particular muscles. But when it comes to trapezius, my favorite is upright row, and also direct exercise for upper trapezius can be shrugs. My favorite would be dumbbell shrugs seated. Number of sets and reps, that's explained in many of my videos, for everything the same as for any other upper body muscle. Rami, thank you very much for your super chat. I really appreciate your support. And Rami is asking, what are your best memories from your competitive days? Not just when you were most successful, but when you were having the most fun. What years? Very good question. Well, I have a lot of memories from competing, and I have bad memories, I have good memories. Good memories are good fun. Bad memories are the ones that you will remember and you learn from them. So I can tell you some of the memories that I learned from the most were actually my first competitions when I trained excessively twice a day, and I also did cardio, which I don't recommend at all now. And I did it twice a day, and I would end up very skinny. My first show, I was 82 kgs, and then a second show, I was 84, and then slowly going 85, 86. And then I learned a little bit more about training and stopped doing cardio, and then I moved to 90, 92, 95, my first competitions in heavyweight. Then I started really getting in good shape, good proportions. My legs grew, my calves, my back, everything. But I learned hard way. And probably 1992, when I won a nationals, I was in the best shape. And I trained, I didn't do any cardio. I did high reps, I did high sets. I was predominantly on protein, very little carbs, medium to low fat in those days. And I ended up in amazing shape. I was really, really proud of myself. So yeah, that was 1992. And then I moved to London in 1993 and did few shows. And in 1995, I was also in amazing shape. But then obviously that was my last show, my 46th show. And I was so obviously in the state when I knew much more than in my beginnings. But then life happened, so I couldn't just continue competing anymore. So I just started doing my business in fitness, in publishing. And yeah, that was my last show, but I was in very good shape. Sometimes I post those pictures. There are a few pictures, and especially the one when I do semi back pose, and you can see a lot of muscles, their definition and proportions, which is really, really good. So yes, okay, there is another one. Thank you very much. Ned Malario, thank you again for your super chat, for your support. Guys, thank you very much to everybody who is understanding that, you know, I do these chats for free, and I would do it more often if you really support this with your super chats and super stickers, because that helps channel and helps me actually to devote more time to you. So I would love to do live chats every week, but I really need a little bit more support for that. So Ned Malario is asking, how can I access recovery between two sessions for the same muscle, including tendons and connective tissues, and when I'm ready to train again? Well, I explained that in many videos, and I advise every muscle to be trained once a week for that reason, because muscles can recover anywhere from 48 to 72 hours. This is true, and we know that. And but that's not enough. So if muscle recovers, it doesn't mean that the other tissues which were involved in that unit that you have used, for example, you do chest, you're not just using chest muscles, you're also using chest tendons, you're using shoulder tendons, you're using elbow tendons and ligaments and cartilages. So you're using the whole unit. So these connective tissues, they need to recover more. They need anywhere from 4, 5, 6 days to recover, so you can hit that unit again. Also, your central nervous system needs recovery. So if you hit muscle twice per week, you are hitting that particular section again, which will overstress your central nervous system. It's already stressed with 4 or 5 sessions per week. So now if you do twice per week, you will be doing more sessions and you will be hitting the same unit again. So it's double stress for no reason. So for all these reasons, it's necessary to rest the muscle 7 days. When I say 7 days, This is point of reference. Some people can recover in 5-6 days. Some people may need 8-9 days. But average for most people, myself including, most of my clients, I found out that 7 days is optimal for full recovery of the trained muscle, all connective tissues involved, and also central nervous system for that particular unit. Because central nervous system responds especially to intensity. So if you're training with extremely high intensity, you will stress more your nervous system. Or if you are repeatedly hitting the same unit over and over again. So these factors create extra stress for central nervous system. This is why I advise every muscle to be trained once per week, or if I can be more precise, every unit. All right, let me see what else is there. The first and second set means you only get half the reps in usually compared to the first set. I don't understand this question. You need to be more articulate in this. Sorry. Really enjoying your content. Could you please talk about the effect of semen retention versus excess depletion in bodybuilding? Was that even discussed in the community? Well, I don't think this is something in particular that is connected with what you mean by excess depletion in bodybuilding. What excess depletion of what? Zinc, sodium, potassium, glycogen, protein, branch-chain amino acids. What excess? So a question is not very articulate as well. So guys, please ask very clearly, because I can't be guessing what you're thinking. We have language, so we can communicate. So try to be as accurate as you can. Mardiov, thank you very much for your super chat, for your support. I appreciate that. And Mardiov is asking, any thoughts or kettlebell exercises to build muscle, like swinging, snatches, goblet squats, etc.? Yes. Very straightforward. Absolute waste of time. So don't do that. You have over 600-700 videos on my channel. You can really get a lot of advice on most effective exercises and training splits that you can do. All this is just comfort training, fun, hype, but nobody that I know who ever built muscles, and I know lots of people who really made a good progress, they never use kettlebells for anything. So I would not use them at all. So yeah. What would you change to optimize Gironda's steak and egg diet? Specific cuts of steak, number of eggs, etc. Do you think you can use this diet to reach any body fat amount you want? Absolutely. Now, there are a lot of misunderstanding of carnivore diet and also this steak and egg diet. I still have a lot of online clients who are actually coming to me. They're not in very good shape. Some extremely overweight, really in bad shape. And the first thing they want to say to me is, oh, I've been carnivore in the last 3 years. So what it means if you're carnivore? What is that, like a sect or something, or religion or something? So you're proud of your beliefs? That doesn't mean anything. If you're not in shape, you're not doing things right. So carnivore, whatever you want to call it doesn't matter. If you're not in shape, you're doing something wrong. So what is wrong with carnivore diet most of the time is that people are eating too much fat and thinking that if you eat fat, you cannot get fat. I did videos and I say fat doesn't make you fat. But it doesn't mean that you can overeat fat and eat as much fat as you want. You will get fat. So my approach to carnivore diet, because I am almost carnivore, is protein to fat, 1 to 0.5. I just spoke to my son half an hour ago about that. I'm on about 300 grams of protein a day and anywhere from 100 to 150 grams of fat. So I'm not on 300 grams of protein and 500 grams of fat. Never. I will probably get fat on that. So when it comes to steak and eggs, they are 50 grams, 50% protein, 50% fat. So let's say you have 10 eggs a day. So this is 60 grams of protein, 60 grams of fat. Now, when you look at steak, don't go for the fattiest one. Go for the steak, which is 20% protein and maybe 5 or 10% fat. And then you will get there. You will be on protein to fat 1 to 0.5. So when I want to get in shape, when I'm getting somebody in shape and people are on that type of diet, I may start them with 1 to 0.5 protein to fat. And then if they need more tightening, if they need to burn more fat, we cut that fat even further down. So on 300 grams of protein, we start with 150 grams of fat. Then from 150, we go to 120, eventually go to 100. Then you go to 70. They may go to 50. If they need further, I will cut protein. I won't go less than 50 grams of fat. So, to get in that ultra shredded shape, you're not going to get there with eating 300 grams of fat a day. So guys, understand that. I don't know what people do and what people talk about. I only live in real world, and my business is to get people in shape. And I never got anybody in shape who was eating the same amount of protein and fat. Some people eat 300 grams of fat and 150 grams of protein. And then they come back to me and say, oh, but this guy said this. Fine, show me the picture. They send me pictures, they're fat. So once understand that, you have to be careful with fat, because fat will make you fat if you overeat it. If you're eating in a natural balance, then you will never be able to eat the same amount of protein and fat, because there is no meat that you're going to have 20% protein, 20% fat. So think about it. Cassandra, thank you very much for your super sticker. I really appreciate your support for the channel. And Cassandra is asking, can women benefit from more training volume, or still is the same, one muscle group daily on weekly basis? I think I have great recovery genetics, but I'm curious about this. Do women recover faster? Well, think like that. Men produce testosterone, so they have a hormone which will help them to recover faster. Women, they don't produce. I don't know if you're natural or not, but women are not going to be superior when it comes to recovery. Now, you also need to understand that women have less muscle tissue than men, and for that reason, you will never be able to train harder. You will never be able to stress yourself too much. But, however, I advise my female clients to train every muscle once per week if they follow advice that I promote on my YouTube channel, and that is to train every muscle once per week and do enough sets and enough reps in the best possible form. So if you do that, everything applies, everything is the same. The only difference between men and women will be in weight. So if I do squats with 120 kgs, you will probably do squats with less, maybe with 30, 40, 50 kgs. This is the only difference. Everything else is the same. Principles are the same. There are a lot of women asking me about the same thing. And this is the only reason why I'm not doing videos for women, because there is nothing different. We have every single system the same, apart from reproductive system. So biomechanics are absolutely the same, no difference. Anatomy is the same. You have the same number of muscles as I have. Biomechanics are still the same. Your muscles will still respond to growth as my muscles. So what is the best way to stimulate? Everything I say for men applies for women. And I can't emphasize that more enough, because a lot of women are asking me, can you do specific video for women? Like what? What do you expect me to tell you? To do different exercises, to do less sets, less reps, to eat more carbs? No, everything is absolutely the same. When it comes to diet, one thing that I want to point out is that women, because of less muscle tissue and also smaller liver, store less glycogen. Therefore, women should eat less carbs. And another thing that I always say, women and carbs are not compatible, because women produce estrogen, and estrogen is known to store more body fat. So you are going to be storing much easier fat from carbs than men, because men have more room for glycogen to store carbs. So remember that. All my female clients, and you can see them all on my website, they got in amazing shape simply because they were following high protein, medium or low fat diet and zero carbs. Nick Twaits, thank you very much for your super sticker. I really appreciate that. And Nick is asking, hi, Dr. Nash. Thank you for your work. I love your books. I split my leg workout in 2 sessions because it's too taxing training whole legs and unit in 1 session. Could I add hamstrings to my arms workout? Okay, Nick, now let me tell you something. I do the same most of the time. Usually I do legs on Tuesday, and I always start with calves, as I advise everybody to do. And after 2 movements for calves and 3 movements for quads, I'm really not having much left to do hamstrings. Very rarely I put hamstrings in my leg workout, very rarely. But most of the time I split my legs too. So I usually train, because I train 5 times per week, I usually train hamstrings with shoulders. So this is usually Friday. So I start shoulders. I do 4 movements for shoulders. And then I do 2 or sometimes 3 exercises for hamstrings. So maybe that should be the same for you. Or you can put with arms as well. Doesn't matter really. But that's a good idea, because it will allow you to really focus on your hamstrings and maybe do 3 exercises, which you won't be able to do if you put your hamstrings together with your quads. So yes. Sean Jackson, thank you very much as well for your support. Guys, I really appreciate your support. This is really encouraging, and yeah, you're gonna make me do this every week. So great, amazing. Thank you very much again. What would a golden era diet look like for body building mass with 300 to 400 grams of protein per day and 2-3 meals per day? So, well, first of all, depending on your size, some people are going to do amazing results with 200-300 grams. Some people need 300-400 grams. People like Nasser, that I knew very well, Nasser Al-Sumbati, he was going up to 600 grams of protein per day. So it's a little bit arbitrary, but depending on your size and obviously your training. Now, if you're doing 300-400 grams of protein per day, 2 to 3 meals, you have to split it in either 2 or 3 meals. So 1 meal would be, let's say, 1 pound of steak. That's about 100 grams of protein, and maybe 4 or 5 eggs, which will be another 30-40 grams of protein. So 2 meals like that, you will hit that 300 in 2 meals. If you need 400, then you need to eat 3 times like that. So some people, like one of greatest bodybuilders in Yugoslavia that I learned a lot from, he would prepare on a diet which was eggs, fish, and liver. Pardon me. So eggs, fish, and liver. Why? Because you can eat a lot of fish. So you can probably eat more than 1 pound of fish, let's say cod, because it hasn't got no fat. But because of absence of fat in cod, you add eggs. So you have fat in eggs. So let's say you have 5-6 eggs and maybe 2 pounds of cod per 1 meal. Then you can do, you can satisfy this need for 300-400 grams of protein. But yeah, 3 meals per day, 100 grams of protein each. This is what I do most of the time. All right. Clippy Day, thank you very much for your support as well. Really appreciate that. And you're asking, do you still get delayed offset muscle soreness when train parts once per week? Was doing heavy duty before 3rd week. I'm still fighting reduce, but still feel, or should I just get used to it? 63 years back to training again after 30 years. Well, you see, this muscle soreness is very interesting thing. Muscle soreness, people understand that there's lactic acid or whatever else. It's no, it's not. Muscle soreness is actually your immune response to the broken down tissue that has happened due to the right training. So if you perform a high number of reps and high number of sets in right form, near failure, that will obviously create damage. You will break down muscle tissue, and that muscle tissue will have to be repaired. Now, some people have very sensitive immune system, and immune system responds heavily, and this is why they feel that soreness in the muscles. Some people react differently. I have clients who are competing, and they are really big guys, and they're training extremely hard under my supervision, and they are hardly ever sore. For example, I am always sore, especially chest, back. They are always sore. When it comes to legs, they tend not to be that sore. I feel them like tight, but not necessarily that sore. But chest, for example, when, for 3-4 days after, when I stretch my chest, I can really feel them back. Obviously, these muscles, because they're not stretched, they're always in semi-relaxed position, like back. You don't feel them sore. But when you stretch your chest or you stretch your back, you're going to feel that soreness, obviously, for days. So I'm usually sore for chest and back, as I said, not as much for legs, shoulders and arms, also not necessarily often. But it doesn't matter. A lot of professional bodybuilders also said, if soreness was sign that you're doing right, I would never be big. So obviously they never felt sore. So it's very relative. It's not necessarily something that should trouble you. But you will get used to it over time. You'll probably get less sore. All right, let me see what else is there. Resting for 45 seconds between the first and second set means only I get half. Okay, that's the question that I didn't understand. It needs to be clarified. At what age do you think it's appropriate to reduce carbs in a child's diet? You recommended high protein and moderate fat. How would you introduce this for kids, and how did you do with your son? So children have very high insulin sensitivity. This is why I always used to say, to make a child fat is a crime. Why? Because that child has to be really exposed to overwhelming amount of carbs, especially sugar. Because kids, if they eat normal amount of carbs, let's say they have I don't know, a couple of toasts in the morning, and they have a bit of rice and sweet potato for dinner, rice for lunch with vegetables, they will never get fat. Children get fat because they they are literally stuffed with sugar. Now, having said that kids have very high insulin sensitivity doesn't mean that their diets should be predominantly carbohydrates, because children need protein more than adults. The reason for that is that children need to develop not just muscles, but also skeletal system. When children don't have enough protein in the diet, one of the first signs is not fully developed jaw bones. So the skull doesn't develop in facial section. And the consequences are usually crooked teeth. And you know that more and more children are wearing braces nowadays, and they had their teeth pulled out in order to make them right, simply because they didn't have enough space in the jaw to grow all their teeth. And the reason for that is lack of protein in the diet. So when child is given cereals in the morning with milk and sugar, and then sandwich for lunch, and then big pasta meal in the evening, this is exactly what is going to happen. Obviously, dentists are going to be very happy. Orthodontists are going to be extremely happy because they're going to be pulling more teeth than ever, as they do, and put braces. Every other kid now is having braces, and the reason for that is underdeveloped jaw because of the lack of protein, period. So, yes, carbs, they can eat a bit of carbs, but not too much. My children, my daughter and my son, they never ate any carbs. I mean, not too much. I remember I would say to them, when we go out, you're going to have your ice cream, but you're not going to have it at home. No biscuits, no chocolates. You're going to have your proper meals. And since the very early age, I talk to them, I explain to them what is eggs, what are eggs, meat, fish, vegetables. They would eat rice and sweet potatoes, but not too much. And both of them are still very lean. My daughter is 28 years old. My son is 25, because they never develop extra fat cells in the body. So they will never be fat. And also, more importantly, they understood what is right nutrition from the very early age, and they kept going like that. And they keep these habits because they simply want to stay in good health and in good shape. So this is what I can say about carbs and kids. What are the best macros to gain muscle? Number one is protein, and number two is fat, because both of them are absolutely essential for muscle growth and hormonal production. So carbs don't exist there because they're not essential. We have essential amino acids, we have essential fatty acids, but we don't have essential carbohydrates. So I think that's very straightforward. So it's entirely up to you. On a cut, I have quite a loss of libido. Would you recommend I do increase fats or overload food or something else? Well, a loss of libido can be caused by many different things. Obviously, you need to check your hormones. Number one. Number two, if you are on steroids, some steroids can do that. When it comes to diet, you should not be starving yourself. You need to know exactly how much food you need to eat and what is the minimum amount of fat that you should have in the diet. And also, it depends on your training. If you're overtrained, if you're overstressed, you're going to have a loss not just in libido, you're going to have loss of everything: energy, muscles, bone tissue. You can get high blood pressure and high cortisol levels as well, depending on many, many factors. So it's not a single factor involved. Obviously, I would need to know exactly what you're doing, but I can't just give you exact answer. But there are probably many factors that can influence that. My question is, when choosing a weight for a particular upper body exercise, I can get between 8 to 12 on the first set, but the third set and the fourth set, I'm only getting 5 or 6 reps. Well, there is nothing wrong with that. You do exactly as you can, because you cannot do what you cannot, obviously. So you do your first set, you do 12 reps, you keep the same weight, you do second set, near failure, you hit 8, 9 reps. Your third set, you do 6. That's it. This is your last set. You stop. You don't have to do 4. Then move on to next exercise. So instead of doing 3, 4 exercises, you can do 5 exercises like that. But the number of sets per individual depends on your experience, depends on your fitness level, depends on many things. Not everybody can do 7, 8 sets of leg press. I can do it. I'm doing it, but not everybody can do it. Not even professional bodybuilders in the gym can do it because they cannot. But it doesn't matter. So you do what you can do. So this all reflects your fitness level, your cardiovascular endurance, your respiratory system. So more sets obviously mean you are more experienced, more fit for that particular purpose. That will come with time, but you can't force it. Nothing can be forced. How can I balance other athletic activities with strength training? Is it just allowing more recovery time and session? Well, depending on what activities you're talking about, and you should be talking to the expert in those activities. If you are a runner, you should talk to an expert, good coach who will tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do because I don't know what sport are you doing. I don't know how you look. I don't know what you need to do. I don't know what your body shape is, what your proportions are. So all this plays different games. So I used to train professional footballers. I used to train marathon runners, swimmers, martial artists, professional boxers. But I had them in front of me one-to-one, so I could have assessed them optimally. So I would advise them what to do depending on a particular sport. But every different sport there is no one size fits all, because depending on the sport you're doing, experienced coach should advise you which exercises you should do to benefit you, right? So if you are let's say a marathon runner, you shouldn't be really worrying about triceps or forearms, because it's not going to do anything to you. So this is the answer requires much more information. Would you like to inform me? Maybe you would like me to inform you more about plant protein and more about nuts, potatoes, rice. I like your training advice because this is a real training, not just massaging muscles. Yes. Well, plant protein is not as good as animal protein because it doesn't have enough essential amino acids. Different plants, they are made for not for us, for humans, and the main component is not protein that humans would respond to, because they're not essential. They don't have all essential amino acids, and some of them lack the most important essential amino acids, like methionine and leucine. So they are the most important for muscle growth. So you're not going to get them in plant proteins. That's number one thing. When it comes to nuts are good for squirrels and other animals who eat nuts, but not necessarily for us. What is special about nuts? They're packed with fat, and they're literally very, very dense when it comes to fat. So why would you eat nuts? For what reason? Protein in nuts, not very good. Lots of fat, lots of fiber. Fiber is not necessarily good for you. Yeah, it's a good fun. People like to eat nuts and get fat, watching movies and stuff. You can eat a whole bag of nuts, which is a few thousand calories. Where are they going to end up? Potatoes, rice, carbs, yes. Why would you need them for what? So I've done a lot of videos on nutrition, so you should watch my videos on nutrition, and hopefully you will get some good advice if you want to build muscle and burn fat. Again, the same question about women. 5 days split training, each muscle group once per week. Would the same be for women as well? Yes, why not? Or can women do more weekly volume for growth? No. Why would you do more volume? What's the difference? There's nothing different. We are the same. It's going to be much harder for women to build muscle. So women has to be more disciplined. What I see around me, most women in the gym where I am, are not just in that gym, but all around the globe because I travel a lot. Most of them are fat. I don't know why. Very rarely I see a fit woman. Some of them who get fit, they get fit just before the show if they compete for a month or two, and then again they put a lot of fat. Why is that? I don't understand. Most likely is that women are eating too much carbohydrates, and they, as I said, women and carbohydrates, they don't go together. Women and carbohydrates are incompatible. So if you want to stay in shape and have a good metabolic health, you should be relying mainly on protein and fat, not on carbohydrates. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased that you enjoy my book. Ashlin Ramadano, who is from Mauritius, and he bought my book for ebook for naturals. And I hope you benefit from it and take advice on board and get progressing. Yeah. Thank you, Ashlin. Yes. Okay. I'm on carnivore diet. And want to lose fat. How do you recommend to set protein and fat ratio? Yeah, I just mentioned that earlier on. If you were listening, I would start with protein fat ratio 1 to 0.5, and that means 300 grams of protein, 150 grams of fat, for example, or 200 grams of protein, 100 grams of fat. And if you're still not losing weight, then I would cut that fat down. So this is, you play with fat, but I would not go less than 50 grams of fat a day. And if you still are not losing enough fat, then you have to start cutting protein, or eventually pay attention to your training. I don't know what you're training as well. So it's not just the answer is not necessarily only in the diet, but also in training. Would you recommend calisthenics training, AM or PM? And may I ask, how can somebody compromise both bodybuilding and calisthenics training for a week? Well, as I said many times, all that I do on my channel is all about muscle growth and fat loss. So I talk about optimized development of muscle growth and fat loss. Calisthenics have no place there, simply because body weight exercises are not intense enough. You can't increase the weight. Your body weight is constant. So it's either too much for some exercises or too light for others. So you can perform all these different movements on the bars or whatever you're doing, guys. But this is not optimal way to develop muscle and burn body fat. So good luck to you. I can't give you advice on that. I mean, I can only talk about best possible way to build muscle and burn fat, and that best possible way has no room for compromise. After adding more volume and eliminating failure attempts, I've noticed a better feeling during recovery. Yes, sore, but a full and tight feeling sore, Eric. Yes, exactly. This is very straightforward reason for training near failure, because you're still benefiting the same as going to failure. Actually, you're benefiting much more because you can do more sets and more quality reps. So on the end of your session, you're going to have 2-3 times more quality reps than if you go to failure. This is one thing. The second thing is you're going to reduce the risk of energy tremendously, while training to failure will increase that risk of injury tremendously, as we know from experience from bodybuilding world. Also, training near failure doesn't mean that your training is not intense. Is actually more intense. And in the next few videos, one came out yesterday, actually, when I talk about scientific proofs of high volume workouts, actually of old school. And there is another one coming soon in which I talk about the wrong approach to training, meaning constantly trying to lift heavier. I explain everything about that and why is even more intense to train near failure in perfect form and with the right time and attention than to go to failure. So going to failure is a macho thing, is something that people like to do in the gym for whatever reasons, to show that they're really trying, they're committed. I don't know what was the motivation for that, but it's not necessarily the best way to do. As my experience has shown, and experience of all my clients, and not just us, but also the whole armies of bodybuilders, starting from 60s all the way up till now. So yes, you're doing good. Are we going to see more videos from Milos? Maybe a day in life? Well, yes, I would like him to do more, but he's very busy with his work, and I would really love him to do more videos. I wanted him to do his own YouTube channel, but it's not happening yet. Eventually, he will do it. For top of your head, what would be the best weekly exercise split for a guy that works full time? How time consuming is the golden era method? I saw that you recommend 4 to 5 sets, so not much, it seems. Well, not from the top of my head, but from the bottom of my heart. I have done many videos on that subject, so you can check them on the explanation in detail everywhere. So, your body doesn't really care if you're full-time or you're unemployed or you're part-time. If you want to build muscle, you have to fulfill certain conditions. And this is, depending on your level, anywhere from 4 to 5 training sessions per week. Every session should be, for major muscle groups, probably anywhere from 20 to 30 sets. And that should take you not more than 45, 50 minutes. So 4 times per week, 45, 50 minutes, I don't think is much for anyone. And anybody should be able to do that, because this is important. It's about you, it's about your life, your health, your strength, is about your metabolic health, and also about your look and your confidence. So I would try to to devote 45, 50 minutes 4 times per week. I mean, I work around the clock all my life. Even today, I was working for 12 hours. And then I had a short break and I'm talking to you. So I still train 5 times per week, because this is important. This is what I do. I have to do it. And I work every day. No day is less than 10, 12 hours. Saturday more, Sunday even more. So, if as long as there is the will, there is the way. And I can't really justify excuses and comfort people with lies, as many do. All these training systems, heavy duty, you train once a week, twice a week, you do 15 minutes and you're going to be great. No, you're not. So I'm not going to lie to you because I don't need to lie. I'm just telling you how it is. And if you can do it, fine. If you cannot do it, fine. Maybe one day you will, but at least you will hear what the truth is. So once you know, you have more chances to do it right. And you should all be aware of people who are selling you easy ways, funny ways, short ways. That's not going to happen. Most of my clients, they come from different trainers who have trumpeting the same song all the time. Heavy weights, force reps, high carbs, and they all ended up injured and fat, no muscles, all of them. And I've been training people for 40, I've seen thousands. And once they get completely wasted, they come to me. So, yeah, that's the reality. Why do you recommend against cardio on a carnivore diet? Well, not only on cardio diet, on carnivore diet, I'm not against cardio, because cardio in my books doesn't exist. So I cannot be against something which doesn't exist. I'm only against insanity when people call particular exercise cardio, because there is no such an exercise that can be called cardio. My cardiovascular system is working now. Is this cardio? Oh, no, it's not cardio. What is cardio? When I do squats, leg press, pull-ups, abs for 50 minutes, my workouts, what are they? Are they cardio? Oh, no, they are not cardio. When I'm sleeping, is that cardio? No, it's not cardio. Really? Your cardiovascular system is constantly working, and you cannot train that system independently, directly, because it's a non-voluntary system. So don't use that word cardio, because that signals immediately that you don't understand what you're talking about. There is no such a thing as cardio exercise. It's impossible to train cardiovascular system. It's only possible to train a voluntary system, which is muscular system. So we can talk about muscular exercises, not cardiovascular exercise. Now the question is, which muscular exercise is the best for cardiovascular system? Is it low intensity, long duration, or high intensity, short duration? And I have explained that in many videos. So when I do 7-8 sets, leg press, 20, 30 reps each set, what do you think is happening with my cardiovascular system? Is it strong? Is it strong? There are people who are pedaling on treadmill every day for an hour. They cannot do 20 reps in any exercise, one set. How good is their cardiovascular system? Zero. This is where the story starts, and this is where the story ends. I'm doing low carb, moderate fat with your style of training. I'm loving it. Thank you. You're welcome. I was wondering, how do you get enough potassium on low carb diet? So did you have any problem with low potassium? How do you know you have low potassium? Potassium is everywhere. It's in chicken, is in meat, is everywhere. So you have enough potassium constantly in your body. The more important thing that you should worry on carnivore diet is sodium. Because it's not how much potassium you get, it's how much potassium you lose. And if you don't have enough sodium in your body, you will be losing a lot of potassium. So I don't take any extra potassium. You don't need to eat potatoes and bananas because of potassium. You can, but you don't have to. Carnivores in nature they don't take potassium capsules or tablets. Look at them, like lacking potassium for intracellular fluid. Not at all. So what is important to understand is that sodium is more important than potassium, especially for us Western people, actually everyone all around the globe, because we've been told for decades that salt is bad for you. And salt is actually not bad for you. You need salt, you need potassium. If you're training, you need about 5 to 10 grams of sodium per day. Now think about it. 1 gram of salt is about 40% sodium. So you need 10 grams of salt a day. Do you eat 10 grams of salt a day? You know, people every day in the gyms where I am, every single day I see people screaming because they get cramp in the calf. Oh, leg biceps cramp. Other day somebody had cramp in his abdominal muscles. And he was in shock. People run around. They didn't know what's happening. They thought it's heart attack. So I came down and said, what's happening with you? He said, oh, he's got very bad cramp in my abs. Oh, my God. I said, okay, relax. Just relax. So I went down, got the salt in a pint of water, put two teaspoons of salt, mixed it, come up to him and said, drink this. What is this? Just drink it, water and salt. He drank it. 5 minutes later, he stand up and said, oh my God, I feel great now. Of course you're going to feel great. You're not eating enough salt. No, he said, I don't eat salt because it's bad for you. Well, what am I supposed to say? This is how bad for you. So you get cramps when muscles get that spasm involuntarily without control because they don't have enough sodium, so they just contract out of the blue. You need sodium. Sodium is more important than potassium. So if you don't have enough sodium, you will lose potassium too because they work in balance. There is something on every cell which is called sodium potassium pump, and that pump regulates sodium and potassium because sodium is responsible for water between the cells, intercellular water or extracellular water, while potassium holds the water within the cell. So potassium is responsible for that sarcoplasm of the cell, for the volume. Now, if you don't have enough sodium, potassium will follow because of that pump. It regulates. And this is why you have to have enough sodium. In healthy individuals, extra sodium will be exerted via kidneys without any problem. So sodium will never cause any problem. People who are not healthy, they are different stories, but they should see their GPs. Can you make a video on training and nutrition for women? You see, again, there is no difference. What am I supposed to say for women? Your girlfriend should do the same as you do, and just obviously lighter weights and maybe less food because she will probably be smaller than you. I don't know. Sometimes women are bigger. So it depends. But when it comes to training and nutrition, everything is the same. Principles are the same for women and men. Yes, electrolytes are important. I have them every day, especially during workout. You should have 2-3 scoops of electrolytes in your bottle of water, which is usually 1.5 liter. And yes, it's very important. All right. I'm 54 years old. I mocked Gironda in my teens, but I now admit he was right. The crazy old man was ahead of the times. Yes, Gironda was ahead of his time. Unfortunately, I have to say, not many bodybuilders are well educated. So Gironda was one of those people who read few books, not many, few, but he managed to read right ones. And he learned that actually protein and fat are essential for health and muscle growth and also fat loss. And then he experimented himself and also with his clients. And he helped people like Larry Scott, first Mr. Olympia, then Arnold Schwarzenegger, and countless number of Hollywood famous super film stars. Mohammed Makavi, another great bodybuilder, he was his client, and everybody was on same on diet steak and eggs. That diet would be very drastic during the training preparation for the shows, but during the off season, Gironda would advise some protein shakes, also extra liver tablets, more cream, butter, protein powders, similar. So yeah, but predominantly protein and fat. Julia Chinchik, should women train differently to men in terms of number of volume and set? How about recovery? Well, I know Julia trains very hard. I know her. She trains in my gym, and she's doing high number of reps, high number of sets, and this is exactly how women should train. Everything the same as men. Now, when it comes to recovery, this is down to rest. So one has to sleep enough. And also recovery is very important. Very important thing to recovery is diet. So high protein, medium fat, low carb diet, and everything will be fine. So I think Julia will do very well. Hi Nash, what is the time rest between different exercises of the same muscle group? Example, biceps. The same as the recovery time between the sets, because your training session is a one train, and all the exercises they should be connected. You shouldn't do biceps curls, barbell biceps curls, and then go have a coffee, come back after 10 minutes, and do seated squat curls. Why would you rest more? So if your biceps workout is made of 3 exercises, 4 sets each, let's say 12 sets altogether, all these sets should have the same rest between the sets. So exactly the same as between the sets. So for biceps, for example, anywhere from 30, 45 seconds, not more than that. And the whole training session for that particular muscle should simply be set after set after set, regardless of exercise. This is how you make that continuous tension of the muscle, not just during the set, not just during the exercise, during the whole training session. This is the best recipe for muscle growth. So that consistent tension, set after set after set, exercise after exercise until the last one. How would you adjust the diet if you are in fat loss phase but feeling very low energy? Do you increase fat? No. As I said, you have to follow the diet as long as diet allows you to burn fat. So if you don't burn enough fat, you have to reduce your fat first, and then eventually you reduce your protein. Yes, you're going to feel very weak and low energy because competition is another joke. When I used to compete, I used to last few weeks before the show. Everybody does. Don't ever think about it. People who are competing are feeling amazing before the show. It's not going to happen. So depending on how much you want to succeed, you need to be ready for low energy. You need to be ready to be stressed, depressed, annoyed, tired, sore, unwilling. Your body will work against you. It will use everything. It will use your psychology to deter you for losing more body fat because the body doesn't want to be that lean. All right? So this is not normal situation. So this is why you're feeling the way you're feeling, because your body is fighting against you getting in that 5, 6, 7% body fat, whatever it is. So you have to go through it. It's a very difficult thing to do. I remember people that I competed against, some of them who were in the best shape, ripped to the bone. They couldn't even talk. They would come, just look at me and say, just like that, "You okay?" Yeah, just they were exhausted. And then when they took their clothes off, they were shredded. I haven't seen anything like that recently. So it's not going to be easy. If you want to compete, if you want to really get in top shape, you're going to suffer. And nobody can help you there. Nothing can help you there. If you increase fat, you're going to get fat. You can't avoid that. So you have to go through that phase. And eventually, after a few shows, you will get more used to it and you will be more resilient to pursue your ambition. When I incline bench, which incline is better, 30 or 45 degrees? Well, first of all, you need to know why you're doing incline press. Incline bench press is done particularly for one section of your major pectoralis muscle, which is called clavicular major pectoralis. That clavicular major pectoralis can be anywhere from 15 to 20% of your overall major pectoralis muscle. So this is why you're doing this exercise. When you perform this exercise, the most important thing is that you really feel that clavicular major pectoralis. So you try 30 degrees, try 45, depending on an individual. The angle that you use is not important. The feeling is important. So you change that inclination and see what you feel more. What you feel more, that's your degree. 30 degrees, 45, whatever. So it's important to feel. This is right under your collarbone. It's called clavicular major pectoralis. And it's anywhere from 15 to 20%, again, depending on individual structure, of overall pectoralis major. Where are we now? Does the 7-day rest concept apply to flexibility training as well? Well, I don't know what flexibility training is all about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't do any flexibility training. Everything we do in bodybuilding is for flexibility because every exercise is performed in full range of motion as far as your joint allows you to do across. And I have no idea what flexibility training you're talking about. When I do squats, my rotation around my knee is full. I cannot be more flexible for my quadriceps. The rotation around my hip when I do leg press or squats or lunges is absolutely full. I cannot be performing anything more for flexibility of my hip joint, etc., etc. So every exercise performed in perfect form is actually full flexibility exercise. So I don't know what else you want to do. You want to do yoga or something like that for extra ability to do whatever you want, fine. But I cannot advise you on that. Soso Top, thank you for your super sticker. I appreciate that. I love your beginner book. In that first year, can we also reduce rest times? I think it might benefit me more to own the weight and process in rest time before adding weight, like down to 30 seconds. So you see, the problem with every book written in human history is that it will never be written for a particular person. It's always written in general. So the principles that are offered in every single book of mine and everything I say on YouTube are now, the principles are the ones that one should follow, but always to adapt to his own aptitudes, because principles are the same, but applications are different. What that means? That means that if I say you should do leg press and squats for quads, that's fine. If I say you should do 4 to 8 sets each, fine. But I don't know how many sets you can do. You may do 4, maybe 5, maybe 7. This is down to you. You keep the principle, adjust to your abilities and your fitness level. When it comes to rest, as you're asking, yes, you can reduce the rest because that obviously signals that your cardiovascular system is very good and you are developing you're becoming more experienced, because reducing the rest between the sets, obviously still being able to perform in right form, right time under tension in the next set means that you are increasing intensity. I just recorded a video which I'm going to talk about it, because intensity, for whatever reason, conventionally understood, obviously wrongly, is always related to weight. So people believe that if they lift heavier, they are training with more intensity. No, you're not training. You're training with less intensity. And I explain in the new video why is that. Because there are ways of increasing intensity. Number one way When I talk about intensity, number one factor is tension. So you have to apply tension on the muscle. That means right form. That means controlled eccentric repetition. That means right time between the sets, rest between the sets. So if you rest too long, your sets are going to be a waste of time, because your training session is not going to be a training session. You're going to have 20 sets, 20 mini training sessions, right? So what you're doing is a good signal, but make sure that you perform next set in the right form, still motivated, still able to perform, good time under tension, set after set. If you can reduce your time, fine. Usually, you will be able to reduce time more for smaller muscle groups like shoulders, biceps, triceps, maybe calves, than for upper body muscles. But reducing time for legs is going to be difficult. If you can, fine, but be flexible and always listen to your body. And again, this is a great example that if you do this, you will obviously progress, but just be vigilant and sensible. Okay, let me see what else is there. Attila Zakos, thank you very much for your help as well. And Attila asks, hi Nash, I followed your beginner's training for 11 months and it suits me. I keep my reps long, good, and my rest short, 30, 45 seconds. My muscles are sore from the second to the 6 days after training. Very good. So you're doing everything as it should be done. Keep going. And obviously, when the weight becomes light, you simply increase the weight slightly for 5%, and that should be enough. Johnny, 41, thank you very much for your super sticker. I appreciate your support. And Johnny said, I'm bulking at home. Smith machine, dumbbells, pec deck, lat pull down, preacher curls, triceps ropes, best split, key lifts for mass and side delts. Well, I would be very careful about that word bulking, because I don't really believe in that. So make sure that you don't get fat. So don't use that word bulking. Just relax, eat healthy, and train properly, and see what happens. Don't speed it up. Don't rush it, because people, when you usually say I'm bulking, they just get fat. You don't want to get fat. And the best split key lifts for mass and side delts. Well, the best split is, you can see I've done a few videos on that subject. And you should train every muscle once per week. And side delts, the best thing for them to do is 4 or 5 sets of lateral flies, dumbbell lateral raises in perfect form. Again, watch my videos. There are a lot of them. There is particular video on that exercise. So if you pay attention to that, you will get your answers there. I never get tired to see or follow you. I always learn from you and I feel safe. Thank you. You're most welcome. I hope you progress. And as you know, I'm I'm trying to give real advice. I'm not selling magic. I'm not promising heaven. Training that I advise is not easy. It's very intense. Type of training that I do and I train my clients is not something that people like to do, because it's hard. It's very hard. It's much easier to do high intensity, 15 minutes, 2 times per week, but you're not going to get anywhere. If that was the way, I would be the first one to still do this, but I don't. So, yeah, you're very welcome. I read that Dr. Franco Colombo liked to drink wine even while he was actively competing in 70s and 80s. What is your opinion on consuming alcohol, red wine, in relation to bodybuilding lifestyle? Well, the problem with alcohol is that alcohol is very addictive. If is controlled, alcohol can be even beneficial. Usually, the governments and the media don't promote alcohol, knowing that alcohol is very addictive. And the moment alcohol starts controlling you, you will be the loser. If you can control alcohol, then it can benefit you. That means a few times per week, maybe a glass of red wine is not going to damage you. It may be even supportive to your health, overall health. There are reasons for that. I may do the video on that. I just don't want to go there in details now. But what most people don't know is that actually alcohol, especially wine, red wine, increase HDL and also increase insulin sensitivity. But it doesn't mean that one should drink too much. Cassandra, thank you very much for your super sticker. I really appreciate your understanding and support and everything I do. And Cassandra is asking, what are your thoughts on adjusting macros week by week for metabolism during a fat loss phase? I'm down 80 pounds since June, and I've got a coach now since January. Currently doing 150. I don't understand this. Currently doing 150p, 262.30 C3F. I don't know what that means. What is the driver for methods like this with coaches? Cassandra, you need to send me another message because I don't understand this 150p, 26, 20, 30. Is it protein or carbs or fat? It looks like protein. All right. Okay. It's fat. Okay. Now, 150 grams protein, 250, 60 carbs, and 35 fat. Well, I hope you're in good shape because I don't eat any carbs. If I have carbs, I don't have them. If I have them once a week or once in a month, there'll be 50, 60 grams per day. So 260 and 230, not even my competitive bodybuilders who weigh 110 kgs eat a day. So this is a lot of carbs. Number one thing. This is very little fat. And protein should be more. I don't know what is your body weight and what is your shape, but I'm 99% sure that I would put you on a very different diet if your aim is to build muscle and burn fat. So I don't know what your trainer is doing or what he knows. So I wish you and him the best, all the best. But this, in my books, is not the diet advice. Adjusting macros week by week. When I put people on a diet and they keep sending me pictures every 2 weeks on the same diet, they just keep melting. We don't adjust anything. And this is the problem. So once things are done right, you don't change the team that is winning. And this is just a hype. This is invented by people who don't know what they're doing in order to keep you impressed with their amazing knowledge and qualifications, obviously, because they're changing your diet every week. I don't change diets every week. I may change diets or slightly tweak something every month, but not a week. Because if something is working, there is no need to change. Do you have any tips to increase appetite? I'm struggling to eat enough on a low carb diet. I do not want to add too many carbs since don't do well on them. I never had that problem. Maybe the problem is in your training. I don't know how you're training. You know, if you're training properly, your body will demand food and you will be hungry. This is why we are hungry. Healthy body responds with hunger by producing ghrelin. Now, if your training is not very intense, is not right, you may not need to eat more. So your body is telling you how much you need to eat. When I'm hungry, I'm very hungry because I'm training very hard and I eat 2-3 times a day. My meals are big, and I never had that problem with hunger. So I would scrutinize first of all your training session, training split. What you're doing in the gym. If you're not doing enough, your body is simply not asking for more. But people who train, all my clients, they are very hungry all the time. Do you agree with Gironda and Bringole on concept of best exercises for shape? While they disagree on what they are still have recommendations. Well, Gironda was good when it comes to diet. I'm not really impressed with his training system. It was more guesswork. We know now exactly what works. People knew very well what works. You know, this thing about 8 times 8. I mean, how can you do 8 sets with 8 reps? That must be all junk volume. How can number of reps remain the same if you go near failure? When I go near failure with the same weight, my every next set, the number of reps drops down. So sorry, Gironda or not, whatever, gurus, gods, I don't care. That is not going to work. When it comes to Bringole, I don't have much to say about the guy. I have his book. I read what he said, and I disagree with most of his theories because they don't hold water to reality. Bringole was Mr. America when he trained completely opposite than everything that he was preaching in his book. He was trying to be scientific, and he wasn't. He was far from scientific. And he got the best body when he was training like everybody else. All those exercises that he later criticized. And that's enough. I don't want to comment more, but you know what I think. You can watch my videos. I explain everything. Do you use an actual timer for your rest periods or do it intuitively? I'm doing intuitively. I never time anything. I never write anything. I'm not a robot. I'm a human being, animated. I have feelings. I have instincts. And I don't recommend doing that. You need to start developing your feelings, your instincts. You need to communicate with your body. You know when you're tired. You need to just get there because we humans, we are also animals. We have instincts, feelings, but we have buried them. We swap that for reason. Reason is fine. We use reason for technology, but we cannot use reason for everything. You cannot use your reason to feel the muscle. Sometimes I ask my clients, did you feel this? And they go, I think I felt it. I said, no, you didn't. What do you mean? You cannot think about feeling. You either felt it or you didn't. How can you think about feeling? Are you remembering your feeling? You can't remember. You know, I'm hungry, and then in 2 hours I'm not. I cannot remember my hunger. I can't replicate that in my mind. It's the feeling. So basically, try to get in touch with yourself more, simply to just be robotic. As I said, we use reason for technology. So you use reason to create a car engine, aircraft engine, because this is why we use reason. But when it comes to our own existence, our own entities, we are simply lost because we cannot rationalize everything. We have reason, we have feelings, we have fears, we have hopes, we have instincts. This is what humans are. And actually, my PhD in philosophy actually tries to debunk that myth about humans just being rational beings. Just curious, when is the last time you had a slice of pizza and some cake? Well, slice of pizza, I can't remember. Maybe 20, 30 years ago. Last time I had cake, that was in Istanbul. I was there a year ago, and I had some baklava there, which is unbelievable, amazing. And that was a year ago, yes. And I will have it again because I'm going to go there again. I'm going to go to the same place and have it again. But you see how often I eat carbs. Good that you ask this. It's funny, but it's true. Guys, and we have to finish because it's going quite far today. The last question is, in one of your books, I have read that you recommend to mix training with longer and shorter time under tension to hit every muscle fiber type. Can you please explain the method, and do you recommend this? Well, not necessarily, but I cannot remember exactly which book is that, because I wrote quite a lot and also hundreds of articles in the last few years. And if you do, for example, 6 to 8 reps with weight that will allow you to do that in perfect form, you will be mainly stimulating your muscle fibers, so myofibrillar growth. But if you do the same exercises in 8 to 12 reps or higher, you will stimulate sarcoplasmic growth, but also myofibrillar growth. So it is always better to be between 8 and 12 for upper body muscles and 12 to 20 or more for quadriceps. Now, when I drop down, I do drop down often under 8. I either do chest press or shoulder press or pull-ups. I may end up doing only like 5 or 6 reps, 7 reps, rarely 5, 6 or 7 will be the lowest. But this is also my last set. So I know that I'm not going to do more than that. I'm not going to do another set. I'm not going to end up doing 3 reps. So I do, in a way, I do anywhere from 8 to 12, and I may end up with one set which is going to be under 8, and that's the last set. Guys, thank you very much for tonight. Thank you for participation. And again, thank you very much for everybody who supported the channel with super sticks and super chats. I really appreciate it. And obviously, you're helping me to do these live chats more often if you do that. So once again, for everyone who supported the channel, thank you very much. And I will try to see you again next week, but you will have this announced on my channel. And until then, I wish you all the best.